Welcome to our viewers. You are still watching Morning Live on SABC News Channel 2, but also SABC Channel 404. Today we are continuing with the coverage of the BRICS Summit here at the Sandton Convention Center in Johannesburg, South Africa. As you are aware that South Africa is the current host of this important gathering. With me I have the spokesperson of the Government Communication Services. Just one question, Tate Baloi. I know you are busy. What's happening now? I saw journalists rushing to the door.
Morning, Sophie. What is going to happen now is that President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his capacity as the chairperson of BRICS, will be briefing the media on the outcomes of the summit that we'll be having today. So that is what we are going to do now.
Thank you so much, Ntate. Samgela, let's talk. Well, it is a big international story, but it has got implications in terms of the national history of South Africa and politics. The president, the host, spoke on Sunday, chairing the meeting. Now he is going to address the media at a time where people were kind of concerned that he is not really focusing on international issues and communicating the international role of South Africa. If you were to give him the score?
In essence, the president over the past 2 years has become more focused on positioning South Africa as a dominant player and as having a voice on the international platform, more especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, where you saw him being the chair of the AU. He was very vocal in how the Western countries were treating African countries as substandard countries and not giving them leftovers of COVID-19 vaccines. And that showed you that he was having a more stern and a firm voice when it came to international politics, and especially in this BRICS summit. You saw him minimizing the talk of various ministers. The only two ministers I saw speaking on this particular platform was the Minister of Electricity, Dr. Jose Nzorama, yesterday on the various donations that South Africa has been given by the Chinese People's Republic on those specific public facilities, schools, hospitals, in order to try and alleviate load shedding within those facilities. That 170 million rands facilities that we've been given by the Chinese, and also the 500 million rands that has been made available in any of the further development within the electricity space.
There were lots of meetings. My observation, the president in charge here as a host, then you had the other meetings, the ANC meeting with President Lula, yesterday meeting with the Cuban president at Freedom Park, historic site, in relation to the frontline state and the role of Cuba in the liberation of South Africa. Then the former president meeting President Lula, and later yesterday meeting the foreign affairs minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov.
In essence, that the ANC has its own parallel program happening with BRICS, coinciding with one another, showing that they've got influence over government, and also showing their solidarity to countries such as Cuba, and also looking at historical relations South Africa has with Brazil. You're looking at IPSA, President Mbeki, the relations he's formed with Brazil subsequent to President Zuma coming into the fore, and President Lula being a worker leader, and also schooling the ANC and advising the ANC on how to go about a coalition era that South Africa is currently in, and knowing that the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, the official opposition, are looking at regulating and putting in thresholds for coalition governments. That advice and guidance that they were getting from President Lula da Silva, especially at a time where you're finding more and more worker issues not being put to the fore, and the ANC grappling with how to transition into this coalition era. That much advice is needed as they head into a watershed 2024 general election, and also having the various hung municipalities, over 80 hung municipalities within the country, and President Lula having that experience that he can impart with the governing African National Congress, and also President Mbeki on the side, knowing that he is an internationalist. You've covered him for various number of years, and knowing that he would have not let this opportunity to engage with President Lula, especially after he came back from incarceration, came back for re-election as the president of Brazil, and also knowing that former President Jacob Zuma as well came to the fore last night
at the dinner,
and that showed you where he was engaging with President Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, engaging with President Ramaphosa, engaging with President Lula da Silva. You know how close they were also were at some particular point in time. So it tells you that all former leaders of the country and of the African National Congress, at a time of international spotlight on the country, they always have a way of converging and uniting.
We are not going to finish, me and you, I know. The important gathering later today, the heads of state and government of BRICS will be engaging African leaders and other leaders from other parts of the world, particularly the South-South. Iran is here, Cuba is here, and Venezuela is also here, Saudi Arabia. I can't finish them. But the important one, the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, is in the country. He is going to address the summit.